Hello and welcome to Off Chain. This is Jimmy Song, and I have a great show for you today. We are going to talk with Martin, who is one of the developers for Bitcoin Gold, and we're going to talk about the different aspects of it, and we'll talk about all the different controversy surrounding it, all the technical details. Anyway, let's welcome Martin. Martin, how's it going?
Hello, it is fine. We are like working all day and all night, but I'm feeling fine right now. How are you?
I'm good. It sounded like you've had some DDoS attacks on your website. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, we've got a peaking of 19 million attacks, 19 million requests per minute.
Oh
That was
wow.
peaking at about 7:30 this morning UTC, and we've got to just make again all of the infrastructure that was needed for the site. Currently, we're running one load balancer and four replicated servers, and we can just say to the guys that are sending these DDoS attacks, just call more. We're ready for you.
Oh wow. Wow. You're saying bring it on, huh? Wow.
Uh,
That's
we've
interesting.
got to do a lot of work today. Really, it was I have spent more than like 9 hours just to make sure that we can do it, and I have finished with the all the defense system a few hours ago. And
Mhm.
actually, we're using Cloudflare for all the for taking the DDoS traffic, but we have seen that one of the resources that we're using on our site was exposed with a node address that was linked to the server. So this caused of the DDoS attacks. But currently, we have really made a really strong infrastructure. So I think that we can handle at least 50 million requests per minute, and everything will run smooth.
Okay, wow, wow. So I mean, definitely going trial by fire. Let's learn a little bit more about you, Martin. How did you get into Bitcoin? When did you start? What's your story?
Okay, it is maybe interesting story for some people. First of all, I'm 23 years old. I have just graduated as engineer in computer science, but I have been working on the IT for 5 years currently. I have a few successful startups. One was for the US market. Currently, I'm working on a startup for the UK market, and we're doing really great with the company I work for. And this is really short about me. I've also received a few awards from NASA, the Jonathan Alsop Award, the Byte Award. For maybe some people have seen me on many conferences and public talks. Got involved into Bitcoin Gold. Actually, my initial idea was to make a pool for Bitcoin Gold because it seemed to be a really nice idea to have all of the really cool features of Bitcoin and to make it mineable again by graphic processing unit, by video card. That was my initial idea, but at the moment I've got into the chat with the guys, and the moment I have seen the code, I saw that there is something like 2 weeks and a half until the fork date, and there were a lot of tasks that needs to be done.
Mm.
Ask them
Well,
if
so I mean,
they're
you're
looking
describing how you got into Bitcoin Gold, but how did you get into Bitcoin? Like just cryptocurrency, whatever.
the cryptocurrencies from 2012, but at the first I was just like the ordinary people that are saying, oh, this will die someday, it is not going to be good. And from the beginning of this year I have started writing some Ethereum smart contracts, and I have made a very deep investigation on actually how the Ethereum network works. Then I have switched to Bitcoin because I found it that it is more interesting because of the security. And something that I didn't like about Ethereum was the way that they have made their hard fork and the split with Ethereum Classic, and some other exploits of their network.
I see.
So I have started looking at the codes. I am much more like a C, C++ developer, despite the fact that currently I'm writing Swift and Objective-C and iOS applications. And yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So you got involved in Bitcoin Gold. You wanted to do some pool mining, but instead you got sort of roped into doing the actual core code. It sounds like. How would you describe what you do for Bitcoin Gold? What are you exactly working on right now?
Well, I have started with changing the block time for Bitcoin Gold. This was my initial task, and I have read about a lot about the code of Zcash actually before, because I have made few of the most popular applications for iOS that are for crypto mining and cryptocurrencies. And my first task, and I have seen the team that were working really hard. Even 2 weeks ago, they were working like more than 12 hours a day to provide this solution and to be able to answer all the people's questions, to prepare documents, the new site, and so on. And I saw that I can help this team. So this is why I joined.
Nice.
I joined because I like the idea, and that I saw that these people need more developers and more members to the team to make everything.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And what would you describe Bitcoin Gold's goals as? Like, what are you after? What are you trying to change? I guess. What are you trying to do here?
Okay. First of all, I want to say that Bitcoin is really, really good cryptocurrency, and I think that it is the best one in the moment. The only thing that I don't like about Bitcoin is not actually something that the developers has made there. It is something that the reality and the commercial world has done to the network of Bitcoin. And this is the fact that most of the mining power is in China. And the people there and their possibility that they can make factories that are mining bitcoins with all the the ASIC miners. This I see this as a weakness of Bitcoin, because you know, one GPU is one vote. When you have 51%, for example, of all GPUs, of all the processing power, technically start dropping some of the transactions, and you can just deny some of the addresses that are sending funds to the other addresses.
Okay. Yeah. That fair
And
enough. Yeah. So sorry. So who's involved in this project, and how are these people getting paid? Who's funding it, and who's how is everything sort of work economically?
first, Jack Liao it is called. He's the founder of the project, and he's the one that has started the idea long ago. I was in the team. And he's the one that currently is paying most of the taxes that we need for the infrastructure and for other expenses. For example, we have to spend. I don't think that's okay, but we have to spend a lot of money to buy the domain bitcoingold.org. So the guy that is paying these things at first is Jack. So he's paying the things that are needed for the development and for the first steps of this project. And the funding from the time that the mainnet is started is being done by a pre-mining of 8,000 blocks.
Okay, that's a lot. 8,000 blocks. That's can you tell us a little bit more about why you chose that number and how that's going to get split?
Okay, that number actually I don't know where it come from, but at first it was more. It was 16,000 blocks. You know, the 200,000 Bitcoin golds that was made, but then we have decided to make it twice less, because 200,000 was really, really, really much. And at the time that we have decided what is the pre-mine amount, you know that we didn't know what will be the price on the market, but we need some answers for the people. So this is the way that this amount was chosen. And then we have made the split, and 60% of this amount is going to be time locked for the next 3 years, and 40% are released at the net.
Okay. And how many developers do you guys have right now? Obviously yourself and at least a couple of others that I've seen in the Slack, but how many developers are are with you right now?
Currently, the core team of the developers are me and HFrex, which is the other developer that are working full-time, we can say full-time on this project. It is actually 3 times full-time for the project each day. And we've got a lot of help, a lot of people that are providing some help. You can see in the GitHub that we have made bounties, and everyone that wants to make something for Bitcoin Gold bounty and can get involved in the project of or in the process of the development.
Okay, and how much experience do you guys have sort of with Bitcoin or altcoins or just cryptocurrency in general? How much experience would you say the collective development team has?
I have no idea about HFrex, but he seems to be very into the details because actually at the beginning I was not that good of the development process, but you know that sometimes it is not important how much skill you have, it is important the will that you have to make something working. So this is actually this will is the thing that have made me that successful for my 23 years, because I don't give up. I see a project, I see how it should work, idea, I will work 24/7 just to make it real. So this is the thing that have pushed me that farther in the last years and actually in the whole of my life.
Well,
and HFrex is a really skilled developer, I think, in Bitcoin Network because he's writing a lot of the code, he's writing a lot of the tests, and he has changed the whole POW algorithm. And I just make one compilation, and I have tried on the rec test, and it was working fine. So this is really, really good, I think.
okay, I mean, are you guys
That
reviewing each other's code, or like, do you have external people sort of looking at the security properties of the changes you're making?
I think that we have a lot of haters that are trying to find our weakest spots and to expose them. So we've got a lot of issues on GitHub, and if somebody sees a problem on the network, they're telling us. For example, at the beginning, Daira from Zcash saw some good ideas in our project, and she also saw that we're having problems at two spots, and she pointed these problems to us.
Okay.
And we want to say thank you.
All right. So, are you going? So, a question that a lot of people are asking about is: are you implementing strong replay protection, and when can we expect that in the repo?
Yes, you guys already have failed in implementing replay protection. You can see the pull requests in GitHub, and we will implement definitely for the start of the network. We cannot just expose that way and to provide this weakness for the network.
Okay, and what kind of scheme are you using? Are you using sort of the SIG hash fork ID like Bitcoin Cash did, or are you going with something else?
First two guys have went for a different way of implementation, and they have pointed out theory and the way that they're providing in the GitHub repo. But we all agree that the Zcash is maybe the best way to do it. And the fact that Bitcoin Cash are making this kind of replay protection is really good because we can just learn from their example, and they're having a lot of money that they're spending for the developers. So through that, I don't feel that I'm really good at the development, but I have a lot of technical knowledge, and I can learn fast. So the best way to be best is just to see how the other people are doing and to see where are their mistakes and which are the good things that they're doing.
Okay, are you going to have any sort of difficulty adjustment? I did hear that you're going to change the difficulty every block. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, this is the thing that I have implemented. The difficulty will be adjusted each block. And the algorithm is taking the average time for the last 17 blocks, and is adjusting the algorithm in certain boundaries.
Okay, are you concerned about the security implications of something like that? I mean, there are sort of ways to figure like if you just like sort of ignore the last 60 blocks and like sort of mine 60 blocks past and sort of make the blocks really, really slow and drop the difficulty to such a point that you can just mine a whole ton of blocks. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing to protect against scenarios like that?
Yeah, I have considered this as a problem, and I have limited the change of from one block to another. So the maximum change is from plus 16% of difficulty to minus 30%. Actually, plus 16 to minus 32%. This methodology was used by Zcash, and I have just taken the information about the difficulty and the algorithm that are using by Bitcoin Cash, because we have seen that the difficulty is rising, falling on their coin really, really much. So I have taken their algorithm and their data for the difficulty from the last, I think, 3 months, less. It's a month and a half, actually. And I have applied the calculations that I'm doing, and I have seen that the graphic is not just like their graphic. It is not jumping and.
Okay. And you guys were supposed to release a testnet about a week ago, but it looks like that's been delayed. When's that going to happen? When are you going to have a testnet that developers can develop against?
I have started the testnet yesterday, actually, but I have found some. The main idea of starting the testnet was to see how it is easy to make a replay attack on it, and people about news, it is really easy to make a replay attack. And also, I wanted to test internally for me if everything is going fine. So I have successfully mined a block on the testnet yesterday, but I have stopped the testnet again because I needed to apply some changes and to change the PCH flags in of the messages.
Okay.
Because we need to be compatible with Bitcoin at some point, but after fork we need to go on our separate way.
Okay, and what features are you sort of planning to add to Bitcoin Gold, like in the future, assuming everything goes smoothly as far as launch goes?
At the moment, the things that are discussed with the team is that we will follow the development of Bitcoin, because the Bitcoin roadmap is really awesome at the moment. Lightning Network is being implemented, and I know that companies like Eclair are working really hard to make it work, and this technology is awesome.
Okay, well, so speaking of wallets, what do you have a wallet client that you guys are planning to release soon? I think people would like to be able to split their coins and things of that nature.
Absolutely. For making the wallet, we have taken an action that was not planned before, and we have decided to make unique addresses for Bitcoin Gold. And for example, for standard wallets, we will have the character G in front of the address, and for multi-signature wallets, we're going to have the character H in front of the wallet address.
Okay, so address format is completely different. It's going to start with a G or an H instead of a 1 or a 3.
Yeah,
okay, that's
absolutely.
Good to know. Okay, and how many miners do you have committed to mining Bitcoin Gold at this point, or are you just like relying on the market to tell you?
I will just get back to the question that you have asked me before about the wallet, and I'm going to say that we have set a bounty in our GitHub for a wallet implementation of Electrum, and Duke Lito from Hush is doing this task. So he's really experienced, and I have actually just received an email with notification from GitHub, so maybe he's ready with his initial implementation and we can be able to test it. But I have not read the email right now.
And how much of a bounty is he getting for this? Is he getting paid in Bitcoin or Bitcoin Gold?
We're paying in Bitcoin Gold because because we value our currency and we know that it works. And we need the people who are doing this job also to believe that we're doing something to save for a better world.
Okay, let's get back to mining then.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get back to the mining.
Okay, we're paying 250, yeah.
You're paying 250 Bitcoin Gold to the guy to make an Electrum version of Bitcoin Gold?
Yes.
Wow, okay. And how many miners are committed to mining Bitcoin Gold right now? What's sort of the number? Or are you just going to rely on the markets to decide that?
We've got a lot of people. Actually, our mining chat is almost as much as active as our general chat in Slack. So I think that a lot of people are going to mine it. For example, the pools that are going to be released for Bitcoin Gold has already 8,000 users registered there. And on pool.gold, which is one of the other pools, they have about 4,000, I think, registered users that are subscribed to the email. Mining is ready to be done.
Okay. What do you think of the current futures markets for Bitcoin Gold? We know Yobit and Bitfinex and all these other ones are sort of valuing it a lot higher than many people thought. It was thought it would be like about $100. It's trading somewhere near 400 in some of these. You know, somewhat less on others. What do you think of the current situation there?
Well, I cannot say anything about the price because price is completely determined by the market and by the people who are trading. I just want to say thank you to the trust that all the exchanges and all the wallets has put in us, and I'm going to say that we're not going to disappoint them. We're really working hard on this project, and we're getting all the things done.
Okay. Well, speaking of the exchanges and people supporting you, who else is supporting you on the exchange and sort of exchange and marketing sort of arm of your enterprise? Like who's coming along? I know Yobit has one, futures market, Bitfinex obviously just started, and are there any others that we should know about that's coming down the pipeline?
Well, very important is to say that Bittrex, after they revise our network, they may support us, but we're having really close communication with the developers from Bittrex. So we hope that Bittrex will support us very soon as we start the mainnet. As I said, we hope that this will happen because we're in really close communication. And also there was a statement by Coinbase a few days ago, and after we have released an answer for this statement, it showed just they're misinformed about all the things that are going on.
Oh.
If there are any other exchanges that wants to support us or that have any kind of questions, we're open. We are really open, and we will answer all of the questions that they have.
Okay. Well, I mean, so a popular sort of thing that a lot of people are saying is that you guys are doing a pre-mine, and this is sort of like a whole new way to do a fork in which like only a few people really benefit because of the pre-mine. What would you say to them? Like, it does seem like there's a significant, like 100,000 Bitcoin Gold coins currently trading at around $400. That's $40 million that you're just sort of mining for yourself. I mean, what's sort of the justification there?
Okay, that's a really good question. First of all, we have released a very detailed plan about all the funds that are going to be spent on the Bitcoin Gold network. And as I said, 60% of the funds are for the next 3 years. And okay, we're going to pre-mine, and this money are what, but let's keep in mind that there is no way to get a free lunch. It is this is one of the very rules of the startup companies and the projects that are being made. So to have the support for one project, and in order to make this project live and to be good and to be developed in the time, you need to have money.
Yeah,
For example, we need to pay currently something like $500 for all of the network that we have implemented today. It is expensive because we didn't expect it to have this kind of attack against us, because we're actually not against any of the other coins and any of the other cryptocurrencies. We're doing our implementation because we believe that this is changing the rules at some point, and because we believe that the Bitcoin must be decentralized to be able to mine Bitcoin. Not only the guys that are taking expensive ASIC machines and that are actually making companies just to mine.
Okay, all right, that's all
Everyone
fine
should be
and
able
good.
to
I get that you
connect.
guys need to pay your developers and stuff, and you did say that there's no such thing as a free lunch, which I agree with. But you're not the only ones paying for the costs of this fork, right? Like there's a lot of exchanges that if they don't give out the Bitcoin Gold to their users, they're going to get sued. So they're sort of by default having to support Bitcoin Gold because you guys have made a hard fork. There's a lot of wallets that are now going to have to figure out how to split coins out. That's a lot of work that you're not really compensating them for. I mean, are there plans to like compensate the wallet developers or exchanges or merchants or even users that have to go through the stress of like moving their coins or splitting their coins or doing whatever it is that they need to do to make their service run right?
Well, this situation is really bad, really, for all of the exchanges and everyone else. And I'm not into the financial things of the project. As I said, I'm an advisor and developer, but we have two other guys that are thinking about the expense and everything else. But as a developer, I can say that we will support with any means necessary of the people that want to implement Bitcoin Gold to their wallets and exchanges.
Okay.
As a
All right.
person and as a developer, I will give all my support that's possible.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about the details. What are the actual block times that you guys are planning? Is it 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes? What's the target block time?
It is 10 minutes like Bitcoin.
Okay, so exactly like Bitcoin.
Exact 10 minutes.
Okay. I
Yeah.
also noticed on the BTC GPU webpage that there was a link for an ICO that's happening in a day. What can you tell us a little bit more about why you felt the need to do an ICO?
Been in the team at the time that the ICO was planned, and actually the first time that I've seen the site of btcgpu.org was something like 7th of this month. So I was not involved in any way, and there was actually no talks about any kind of ICOs, and any we have I, as a person, and the other team that is working currently have not said once about ICO. And the 2,000, 200,000 pre-mine actually in the beginning. And the thing that have other people that were before me said about this, because I have asked the same question, why we need an ICO and why you had this kind of idea. At some point, they have said that this was kind of our idea, and the person that was making the ICO just tried to make some fast money. That this is really not good, and none of the team supports this idea currently.
Okay, well, it
Of
did
the
get sort of
team,
taken off the. It was there this morning, I swear, but I'm looking at the website now, and that link is gone. So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's so strange that that the ICO was there and there was a countdown ticker as of yesterday. Uh,
it was not an ICO. This was the block time. It was the time of the fork. There was really no ICO.
okay, there literally was a link.
I
Somebody
can
sent me a screenshot or something because I saw it earlier today, but maybe it's not there anymore.
link to the roadmap that you can read all about Bitcoin Gold, and
Okay.
there is still the link that is showing all of the information that is we think that is needed by the people. There is the financial plan with all of the expenses that are planned for the next 3 years, and all of the link to the Bitcoin network, everything.
Okay.
And we have made
So
it roadmap.
when is the actual like release of the first mainnet block going to be? You're going to do an 8,000 block pre-mine. So I assume that since you guys froze at block 491,407, 8,000 plus that would be 499,407. When are you going to release block 499,408? When is that going to happen?
Well, I cannot say a date. I cannot specify dates, but we hope that this will happen in the next week.
Okay,
We
and
need
then
to establish the testnet. After the testnet is established, we will help the pools that are going to be mining Bitcoin Gold, and then we will do a transparent pre-mining. I will say it that way because we are going to implement a logic in our code that is making the blocks accepted only if they are sent from some of the nodes.
Okay. And are you planning
And
to have some sort of like a block explorer for Bitcoin Gold? Like who's going to develop all that? Do you have bounties out on those, or is that something that you're asking the market to do?
I have seen a lot of mails. Sorry if I've got misinformed in the last 1 or 2 days, but a lot of things are going on, and I try just not to get distracted by unnecessary things. I have seen that there is an issue in GitHub about a block explorer, and I think that the guys will offer a bounty for this also.
Okay.
The fact is that we need more developers for the coin because we're just two guys that are trying to make a cryptocurrency, and this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And we're doing
I
our
think that's
best.
a very fair statement. It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay. And when do you anticipate? Well, so assuming that it comes out in the next week or two, as you seem to be saying, as far as the actual client, what are you sort of hoping? Like people will do with their coins? I mean, it does seem like there's a lot of people that are just sort of waiting to dump whatever Bitcoin Gold that they get and sort of treat it like a dividend.
Yeah, there may be a lot of people that will just dump everything. But for example, we have one major difference that the Bitcoin Cash network, and that is we're actually changing something really important in Bitcoin. So we're making an improvement, and we hope that the people will see that this improvement is made for good. And maybe, yes, there will be a lot of people that will just dump everything that they have, but we've got a lot of supporters,
Okay.
and we hope that these supporters will continue supporting the network because this coin, I think that it has value.
Okay. What are you going to do if a flaw is found in your code? Are you going to hard fork? What are you going to do to like, what's your plan if something goes really wrong? What's your current sort of disaster recovery scenario?
I have actually not given a thought about this,
Mm.
and this is a question for a really larger discussion with all of the other guys, and we will definitely seek the advice of all of the other blockchain developers because you may say that we're all different teams, but actually I think that all the developers of the blockchain networks of the cryptocurrencies are actually making the first steps for making a one ultimate cryptocurrency that will be really accepted everywhere as a payment method.
Mm.
So we're going to seek other people, and so we're going to follow their experience because, as I said, we are maybe not that experienced, but we're doing the things because we know that we can, and we're ready to read and to learn a lot in order to provide the best possible solution.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. One other thing I wanted to ask you about: Red Creighton has released a fork of Bitcoin Gold that takes away the pre-mine. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that is a very good question. Actually, this guy was involved in making um, the network. It just got out of my head. He was making the replay protection, and he started one implementation, and we have decided that this implementation is not doing the job fine. And I think that after that moment he decided just to take all the pre-mine out and to take off our code, just copy paste it in his repository, make a fork, and remove the pre-mine, which everyone can do whatever they want. This is an open source project. We're providing of the code for all the people that want to make forks and anything else. So
Okay.
there
I
will
mean,
maybe a
it's
people that will
interesting
follow
because
his way of doing the things. But if you want to provide a future for coin, you definitely need to find a way to support this coin. We're not asking money from people to, for example, make a fixed task on every fine block found. We're just making less than 0.5% pre-mining. This is actually far less than the taxes of the most pools.
Well, I mean, so the way you feel about maybe Red's fork maybe is how a lot of Bitcoin developers might feel about your fork, because you are forking off of Bitcoin. Like, how do you sort of resolve that? Because what Red's doing to you is what you're doing to Bitcoin Core, no?
Yeah, it is actually it is a bit similar to say that way, but Bitcoin was forked many times, but it doesn't get the name Bitcoin. For example, maybe more than 50% of the cryptocurrencies available has used of the Bitcoin source as their base code, and they have just implemented minor or major changes to it.
Mm.
So this is the risk of making everything open source, to make everything transparent. Everyone can just take your project and or just comment 4 or 5 lines and to say, okay, that's my project. I have made something unique, something very cool. And this is the risk of open source. I have made many open source projects. Actually, I have won a NASA Space Apps Challenge a few years ago with an open source project, and I have personally seen a guy that is showing my project at a technical conference.
Okay.
So this is the risk. We cannot do anything, but the thing that we can do is to make a very good solution. And to make a very good solution, as I have already said, you need money.
Okay. All right. So one last thing before I let you go. There was obviously the forking block or the freezing block for you guys happened yesterday, and there was like a steep drop in Bitcoin shortly after that block, presumably because people wanted their free Bitcoin gold coins before they took it off the exchange. I mean, do you see this happening more going forward as more projects like yours fork off of Bitcoin?
As I said, this is all decided by the market.
Mm.
I have expected such a thing to happen because I have seen the markets on the Bitcoin Cash fork. But yeah, maybe as many as coins are going on, and we're going to see the Bitcoin 2x fork happening very soon. So maybe the market will be the same. No one knows.
Okay. Well, Martin, it was a pleasure having you on. Do you have any sort of last thoughts before I let you go? I want to update my viewers after you go to on some other things. But anything else that you want to say?
I just want to thank you about this opportunity to be in your show, and I want to say that we admire you a lot in our team, and you're like a guru to us, like a legend. So for inviting me here, and I want to say to all the people that we're going to answer all the questions that they have on our Slack channel, and we want to know everyone that we need more developers, and we're going to use the pre-mined coins to pay the developers for their work. So we're going to make very fair process of development, and everyone that has the will and that wants to learn something new can get involved with our project.
Okay. Thank
To
you, Martin.
anyone and everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. All right. Well, that was an interesting interview, Martin. If you can hang up, actually, can I just
Okay.
eject you? Is that even all right? So I'm gonna eject you. Here you go.
Okay.
All right. Later.
Thank you. And
All right, there we go. All right, so that was very interesting. I'm sure you guys. I learned a few things about Bitcoin Gold that I didn't know before. But yeah, they have 100,000 coins that they're going to pre-mine in the next 8,000 blocks. They don't have a testnet yet, but they do want to get it out in a week. They have a difficulty adjustment, like sort of every block. Does sound like they took some of the ideas from Zcash and Bitcoin Cash. I think I wasn't. I think he mentioned both as sort of being inspirations. So some thoughts on that. I mean, it does seem like Bitcoin proper, because a lot of people sort of move in from altcoins to get their Bitcoin Gold and then leave. So it just sort of does like a run up right before. So I really wonder if the same thing's going to happen with 2x. A lot of people from altcoins are coming in to get their 2x coins, and then they leave afterwards or something like that as soon as it's ready or it's good to do so. But yeah, I mean, so some updates I wanted to give you guys. One thing, I'm sure you guys are curious about the 50 Bitcoin guy. I still have not heard back from OneHash. I've contacted at least a couple different people. None of them seem to be responding. I'm not even sure they have read my message or anything. But yeah, I'm still kind of. I would obviously love for someone from OneHash to contact me, contact that guy, even if it's just to say, sorry, we already spent that money. You know, like we can come on your show and explain what happened, but you know, it's long gone. Like whatever your position is, I just like to hear from you, right? Like it would be ideal if you can give the money back to the guy because it's his life savings. But you know, I think it would be great if you could just even answer and give some closure. I think there's a lot of hope out there right now that this guy would get his money back, and obviously it would be great if you could. But you know, I mean, I think just sort of like ending it with silence is probably a terrible PR move. It just makes you kind of look callous. Anyway. Questions. Let's go to some of the questions. Thanks for I think that's Rob breaking down Bitcoin. Jimmy seminar programming blockchain.com, worth it. Yeah, I am closing off applications in the next day or two. So if you want to do the programming blockchain seminar for the Bay Area, it's at Stanford. You know, please register now because yeah, I got to close it off and I got to give all the pre-work to all the students and everything like that. I'm also teaching at Dev++. That's still going on. That the registration for that will be more. My seminar is more for, you know, like knowing all of the details and being able to like program your own wallet from scratch if you wanted to. Whereas this one's more, here's how you work with the RPC commands, and here's how you can use some of the libraries. You still get some of the concept, but they're mostly complementary. And then you got scaling Bitcoin afterwards. So it's going to be a very full week for me, 6 straight days of going to this stuff. But if you are looking to get into, I mean, and even the guy that was just on, Martin, he was talking about how Bitcoin Gold needs developers. That's not just true of Bitcoin Gold, but it's true of like pretty much every blockchain company out there. And you know, certainly Bitcoin companies are very keen on hiring more developers, and they're very, very hard to find. And you do have to pay them a lot of money in order to get them to work for you. So that's a good place to break into if you're interested. All right. All right. Let's see. Any questions out here before I take off? Hey, are there any sort of topics you guys want me to talk about? I mean, I did, and we could talk about phone bat or something like that. Somebody's telling me my microphone. Yeah, I did. Oh, by the way, I did put a SegWit address into my into the YouTube video, so you guys don't complain that I'm clogging up the network. I will say though that this weekend I tried to do like 3 or 4 transactions, and every weekend before, when I was doing like small amount transactions on SegWit, I can get it in for like 1 Satoshi per byte. But this past weekend, none of them went through. In fact, a lot of them are still sort of sitting in the mempool. And the reason I think was because of Bitcoin Gold. I think a lot of people were moving Bitcoin around so that they would get their Bitcoin Gold wherever it was, either moving it out of exchanges for some people that wanted to control their own keys, or out of exchanges, or from altcoins, or to altcoins, or whatever. There just seemed to be a lot of activity. So it's unfortunate, but a lot of the cheap transactions are not right now available on the network because there's a lot of people moving money around due to Bitcoin Gold and other things. All right, are there plans for Core to implement more privacy features into Bitcoin? Monero or Zcash? Well, so the Monero model, the hard thing about Monero's model is that the UTXO set just continues to grow. You can't ever really eliminate them because you have no idea if they've been spent or not, and that's part of their privacy. And the hard thing about Zcash is that it requires a lot of CPU to actually make a make a private transaction. So both of those, I would say, need a little more proving out before they would be implemented in Bitcoin. But that said, like a side chain with that would be totally normal for me. Let's see. There's also maybe some stuff about 2x. I think it was revealed that Jeff Garzik is doing an ICO of some kind. That's like a cross-chain token of some kind or something like that. I don't know very much about it, but it does make it look like 2x won't have that much development power going forward after the hard fork if he's concentrating on that. I mean, he's got a company to run, Block, and he's doing an ICO, and he and maybe 2 other developers work on SegWit 2x. And where's that development power going to come from? So that's kind of a question. All right. What's real summary of BTC goats? I don't know. All right. How did you stay so cool during the interview? I don't know. I just asked him questions. He's a nice guy. It's not like he's being mean to me. I hold Bitcoins via OTC agreement, not in any wallet. So will I be eligible to receive any altcoins? Would you liquidate positions during the 14th November? I mean, everyone should do what they think best. I personally think the Bitcoin ecosystem gets stronger every time some disordering event happens. This is what I call like the anti-fragility of Bitcoin. I'm not planning on liquidating any of my positions, and I haven't. Despite all the different things that have happened, I do have to say I was pretty scared back in like March, April, something like that. But I've seen an anti-fragility in many aspects, not just technically, but economically and socially. There's a lot of people that are willing to hold through almost anything, and they will sort of keep Bitcoin afloat. They're not going to sell. There are a lot of true believers in Bitcoin that cause it from getting below a certain point. So, I think that's going to hold true for a long time. Let's see, any other questions? 2x won't have that much development power. Yeah, they probably won't. I don't know. It will be interesting. Microphone down, please. Oh, you want this down? Oh, well, I'm using a different mic up here. I'm using this so there's no feedback. Jimmy, where will we be able to claim Bitcoin Gold with our private keys and by when? Yeah. Protection scheme, you may need a different signer. So I mean, I moved some Bitcoin Cash the other day, and I had to use the normal Armory wallet, and there's like a little selection box for a different signer. It makes a signature only valid on the Bitcoin Cash chain. I'm hoping that Bitcoin Gold does something similar, so it's easy enough for a wallet to just sort of add. But yeah, can you hold the mic and look up? All right, you know what? Let's. People are complaining about my thing. Whoops. All right. So is this better, guys? Sound is dropping. No. Yeah, I don't know. You don't care if we can't. Well, I can't. Lagging, yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of normal in my part of town. Unfortunately, I don't have like super fiber or something like. I do have fiber, but somehow it's not quite as good. You've been trolled. All right. Well, anyway, connection is terrible. I'm signing off. All right. Still can't hear you. All right. Well, you know what? I think this might be a good time to stop. If the sound is unusable, I'll record another one later this week. All right. Bye.